Duggar family shocked. Jim, Bob, and Michelle Duggar kick out Josie for secret wedding. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. For Duggar family latest news update, please subscribe the channel and press the bell icon. The secret that shook the Duggar home for years. Fans of the Duggar family have followed their journey through joy, controversy, and faith-based living. But now, the spotlight has shifted to the youngest daughter, Josie Duggar, whose unexpected choices have left her parents, Jim, Bob, and Michelle Duggar, in disbelief. What started as whispers online has now turned into one of the most shocking scandals in Duggar history, a secret wedding that no one saw coming. This is the story of how Josie Duggar, once the sweet, fragile miracle baby, grew into a young woman ready to make her own choices, even if it meant being kicked out of the Duggar family home. The miracle child, Josie Brooklyn Duggar, was born on December 10, 2009, a full 3 months premature. Her birth was a fight for survival. Fans of 19 Kids and Counting remember the tearful scenes as Michelle Duggar prayed over her tiny daughter in the NICU, weighing just over 1 pound. From the start, Josie was called a miracle child. She became a symbol of faith, strength, and family unity for the Duggars. Michelle often said, "Josie reminds us that God is still in control," but as Josie grew older, the same faith that once united the Duggars would become the very reason for their greatest division. Growing up under pressure, unlike her older siblings, Josie's childhood was spent mostly off-camera after the original TLC series ended. Jim, Bob, and Michelle had already faced backlash for their strict courtship rules and the scandals involving their older son, Josh. As a result, Josie was shielded from public attention, homeschooled, surrounded by siblings, and raised under strict, no dating, only courtship rules. But inside the walls of the Duggar compound, things were changing. Older siblings like Jinga, Jill, and Joanna began quietly questioning the strict lifestyle they grew up in. Josie watched them, especially Jinger, who had moved to California and started dressing differently, embracing her independence. By the time Josie turned 15, she was curious, not rebellious, but quietly questioning this secret friendship. It all began at a church youth retreat in Arkansas when Josie met Ethan Miller, a young man from a nearby congregation. He was polite, soft-spoken, and respectful, the kind of boy Michelle would normally approve of. But there was one problem. Ethan came from a less conservative Christian background. He attended college, listened to contemporary music, and didn't believe in the Duggar family's chaperone system. For the first time in her life, Josie felt someone truly saw her, not as the youngest Duggar or the miracle baby, but as her own person. What started as innocent Bible study conversations turned into late-night texts, secret video calls, and emotional connection. By 17, Josie knew she had fallen in love, something completely forbidden in the Duggar household. The forbidden romance. Jim, Bob, had always been known for controlling his children's relationships. Before any of the Duggar kids could court, they had to go through parental approval. When Josie's older siblings like Jessa and Jill courted, every text, call, and date was supervised. Hugs were sight-only, and hand-holding wasn't allowed until engagement. But Josie's relationship broke all those rules. She hid everything, even from her sisters. Michelle grew suspicious when Josie started spending more time outside, family zones, and deleting messages from her phone. Jim, Bob, once checked her phone, only to find it locked with a new passcode, something unheard of in the Duggar household. When confronted, Josie calmly said, "I just want privacy." To her parents, that one word, privacy, was the beginning of rebellion. The confrontation, it all came to a head one night in early 2025. Jim, Bob reportedly found a photo of Josie and Ethan at a small-town diner in Fayetteville. She wasn't with a sibling or chaperone. She was alone, smiling beside Ethan. In Duggar terms, this was a major scandal. According to a family insider, Jim, Bob, lost his temper. He told her she was throwing away everything the family stood for, the source said. Michelle was crying, and Josie just kept saying, "I love him, and I'm not ashamed." Jim, Bob issued an ultimatum: either you end this relationship, or you can't live under this roof. Josie, just 17 at the time, shocked everyone by packing her bag that night. The secret life. Josie quietly moved in with a friend from church, a young woman named Hannah, who had also left a conservative home. With Hannah's help, Josie found part-time work at a local bakery and began finishing her GED online. She reconnected with Ethan, and together, they started planning a small private wedding, something simple, quiet, and away from cameras. According to rumors online, Josie didn't invite any of her family except for Duggar, who sent her a message of encouragement but couldn't attend due to the family tension. On July 8, 2025, Josie and Ethan were married in a tiny chapel in Bentonville, attended by just a handful of friends, an OTV crews, and Duggar family photographer. Just two young people choosing love over legacy, the discovery. The Duggars didn't learn about the wedding immediately. In fact, it wasn't until a photo surfaced online, showing Josie in a modest white dress, holding hands with Ethan, that word reached the family. Jim Bob was reportedly furious. Michelle, heartbroken, called Josie multiple times, but Josie didn't answer. She didn't want another lecture or guilt trip. She just wanted peace. The Duggar home. The topic of Josie became off-limits. Some siblings defended her privately, saying she's just following her heart. Others stayed silent out of fear of angering their parents. Family tension reached an all-time high when a TLC producer reportedly contacted Jim Bob, asking if they could feature Josie's wedding in a family special. Jim Bob refused, saying, "There's nothing to celebrate. The fallout." By late summer, Josie had officially been cut off from the Duggar home. Her room was cleared out, and her name was quietly omitted from family social media posts. Michelle continued posting about family dinners and faith gatherings, but fans noticed that Josie was always missing. When a follower asked in a comment, "Where's Josie?" Michelle simply replied, "Please pray for our family." Insiders close to the family claim that Jim Bob believes Josie will come back to God and repent for what he calls disobedience. But those close to Josie say she's happier than ever, renting a small apartment with Ethan, attending a local college, and finally experiencing freedom for the first time in her life. The public reaction. When news of the secret wedding broke online, fans were divided. Some criticized Josie, saying she should have respected her parents. Others praised her bravery, calling her the only Duggar with courage to break free. Former family followers posted messages like, "Good for her. It's time someone from that family lived their own life. She's still a child in their eyes, but she's an adult now. Let her live." Christian bloggers debated whether Josie had sinned by defying parental authority or whether she had followed her heart in faith. Even former TLC crew members reportedly said they were not surprised, describing Josie as quiet but strong-willed during filming years ago. The Duggar divide. Inside the Duggar family, lines have been drawn. Duggar and Jill privately support Josie, understanding what it's like to leave the family's strict control. Jessa and Jana remain cautious, maintaining a public image of unity. Jim Bob refuses to speak publicly about the issue. Michelle is torn between her faith and her maternal love. During a recent sermon at their church, Jim Bob reportedly said, "When children turn from God's ways, all we can do is pray for their return." While he didn't name Josie, everyone knew who he meant. Josie's life now as of now. Josie Duggar Miller, as she now goes by, lives quietly in Northwest Arkansas. She's pursuing a degree in early childhood education and volunteers part-time at a local daycare. She and Ethan share a modest home filled with secondhand furniture, laughter, and peace, a stark contrast to the strict regimentation of her upbringing. Josie rarely uses social media, but a recent photo shared by a friend showed her wearing jeans and smiling beside her husband, something unimaginable a few years ago. When asked by a local reporter about her relationship with her family, Josie reportedly said softly, "I love my parents. I always will. But I need to live the life God put in my heart, not the one others chose for me." The Duggars' public silence. Despite mounting media attention, the Duggar family has remained publicly silent on Josie's wedding. Their family blog and social media continue to post Bible verses and family updates, baby showers, anniversaries, and charity work, but Josie's name never appears. TLC has declined to comment on whether the family might return to television, but insiders suggest the network has no plans to revisit the Duggar brand amid years of controversy. However, online drama channels and former Duggar followers have kept the conversation alive, discussing whether Josie's story could mark a new chapter for the family's younger children, a generation less willing to live in fear. Lessons from a Secret Wedding. At its heart, Josie's story isn't just about rebellion. It's about independence, love, and faith on her own terms. For years, the Duggar family preached obedience, but Josie's journey shows a different kind of devotion, one rooted in authenticity. While her parents see her actions as betrayal, many see courage, the courage to love, to choose, and to live without shame. Some fans believe this could be a turning point for the Duggar legacy. After decades of control, image, and secrecy, Josie's quiet defiance has opened the door for honesty. Even if she never reconciles with her parents, Josie has proven one thing: she is no longer the fragile preemie born into a world of cameras. She's a woman writing her own story, a message to the fans. To the millions who watched her grow up, Josie's Secret Wedding is bittersweet. It reminds fans that behind the Duggar smiles and Bible verses are real people, children growing up, learning, and struggling to define themselves. One family friend summed it up best: you can raise your kids with love and faith, but you can't script their hearts. Josie found hers, and that's something beautiful, the new beginning. The story of Josie Duggar isn't one of rebellion or scandal, it's one of freedom. She left behind fame, control, and expectations for something pure and simple: love. While Jim, Bob, and Michelle continue to pray for her return, Josie has already found her peace, not in rebellion, but in grace. She may never again be the baby of the family, but in her new life, she's finally something more powerful, her own person. Call to action for the video script. So, what do you think about Josie Duggar's Secret Wedding and the family's reaction? Was she wrong to keep it hidden, or was it her right to choose love over control? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoy deep dives into stories like this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Drama Alerts for more exclusive Duggar family updates and reality TV revelations. Josh Duggar's fall from grace, 12 years behind bars and $3.1 million fine, leaves Anna devastated. The courtroom was hushed. The heavy oak doors swung open and Josh Davenport entered, wearing a dark suit, his hands clasped in front of him. Beside him sat his attorneys, faces drawn. The spectators, some curious, others sympathetic, many hostile, shifted and murmured softly. Among them, in the front row, was Anna Davenport. She sat with shoulders rigid, her face composed though her heart felt as if it were being torn apart. From the beginning, Anna had stood by Josh, or at least she had believed in him. They had built a life together, raised children, and weathered storms. But now, as the verdict was about to be read, everything hung in the balance. The charges and the trial. The case against Josh had been shocking and deeply disturbing. Prosecutors accused him of receiving and possessing child pornography, acts especially heinous in the eyes of society, and ones that could carry decades behind bars. Months of investigation had culminated in the seizure of electronic devices, forensic analyses, testimony from law enforcement and computer experts, survivors' advocates, and damaging digital. The trial stretched over days. Witnesses recounted how some of the material discovered on Josh's hard drives ranked among the worst the forensic analysts had ever seen. Defense attorneys attempted to cast doubt, suggesting hacking, alternate users, or contamination. But the weight of evidence proved formidable for Anna. Those weeks in court were harrowing. She sat in the gallery day after day, trying to be strong for their children who were barred from court. She'd glance at Josh, hoping to see a sign: denial, fear, remorse, but often saw only a distant, hollow gaze. On the day the jury delivered their verdict, a hush fell across the courtroom. Anna sat upright, eyes forward, as the foreman stood. On the first count, knowing receipt of illicit material, we find the defendant guilty. On the second count, knowing possession, we find the defendant guilty. The words struck Anna like blows. She felt the air rush out of her lungs. Josh's shoulders sagged. He was immediately led away in handcuffs. Before he walked out, he turned and, through a mask, locked eyes with Anna for a moment. Tears threatened to spill from her. He mouthed the words, "I love you." Outside the courthouse, many family members made statements. His parents issued a written message. They were heartbroken, would continue praying, and pledged support for Anna and the children. Cousins and siblings took different stances. Some voiced support, others offered condemnation. The sentencing. After a prolonged pre-sentencing investigation, the day came for sentencing. The judge, in a stern, measured voice, declared Josh should serve 12 years behind bars. In addition, she ordered a multi-million-dollar fine, in this fictional retelling, $3.1 million, and long-term supervised release afterward. Josh's legal team plainly intended to appeal, but for now the sentence stood firm. The courtroom brimmed with tension as victims' advocates, relatives, and the press listened in. Anna's face was blank. Inside, every nerve felt raw. The judge warned that during his supervised release, his access to the internet would be limited, contact with minors strictly regulated, and no unsupervised contact even with his own family. Anna's heart sank. 12 years. A lifetime. Even with appeals, the likelihood he might serve a significant portion loomed. Anna's turmoil. After the verdict and sentence, Anna retreated into a shell. She maintained her composure publicly, controlled, tight-lipped, but inside, grief, betrayal, fear, confusion, and a crushing loneliness warred. How could the man she loved commit such acts? And what did it mean for her children's future? She wrestled with doubt. In quiet nights, she pondered whether she had misread signs, ignored red flags, or denied warnings. She remembered times when Josh had been secretive or defensive, and how she'd chalked them up to stress, work burdens, or spiritual struggle. Now, she questioned them all. Anna also felt immense pressure from the world. The media, friends, extended family, critics. Some urged her to divorce him. Others implored her to stay loyal. Some offered sympathy. Others reviled her for defending Josh. She faced whispers at church, social media attacks, and casual judgment in daily life. Her children needed her to be their anchor. But at nights, after they slept, she wept. Sometimes she screamed in her pillow. She researched the legal process, appeals, and even forensic science, hoping for any way to help Josh. But she also quietly scheduled counseling sessions for herself and for her children. In the months after sentencing, Anna took on the role of both father and mother. She handled finances, homeschooling, emotional crises, and public scrutiny. She stepped up for school events, birthdays, and bedtime prayers alone. She learned to mask exhaustion, fear, and heartbreak from their eyes. Family fractures. Josh's conviction ripped the family apart. Some siblings drifted from Anna, others rallied. Some relatives stayed silent. Others made public statements denouncing Josh's actions. The family's public image, once rooted in piety and unity, crumbled. Faith, loyalty, truth, and reputation tangled into a messy knot. At times, Anna felt abandoned. She expected radicals who once applauded moral integrity to turn their back on her now. She once believed that faith would carry her family through. But loneliness and fear whispered lies. She struggled to reconcile the man she loved with the crimes of which he was convicted. How much blame lay with Josh alone? How much with enabling structures around him? The questions haunted her. One prime moment came when Josh's cousin, Amy, published a memoir claiming the family had long ignored or covered up abuse. She accused the family of protecting reputation over victims and publicly distanced herself from Josh. That cast a harsh spotlight on the entire clan and forced Anna to reckon with family loyalty versus moral accountability. At times, Anna felt guilt. Guilt for raising children with a man who had betrayed trust. Guilt if she stayed. Guilt if she left. She grappled with whether to hold on to the marriage or protect the children and herself. Many nights, she'd stare at the ceiling, imagining different futures, moments of reckoning. Halfway through Josh's sentence, Anna visited him in prison. The facility was bleak, consultations curt, visiting rooms hostile. She sat behind glass and talked through a phone. She looked at him. He looked smaller, older, haunted. For a moment, she thought she saw the man she married. But reality was different now. They spoke of children, letters, hope, remorse. Josh apologized, asked for forgiveness, and promised change. Anna listened. She admitted she found it hard to trust, even as she wanted to believe. The distance between them, emotional, moral, physical, felt vast. After the visit, Anna returned home to 7 children, aged from toddler to teenager. She held them tight. She told them she loved them. She prayed for strength, guidance, and healing. One evening, her teenage daughter asked, "Mom, is Dad coming home?" Anna forced a smile, swallowed her tears, and said softly, "Yes, if the Lord wills." Later she wept.